Hello. We are at the Bay Area Open, 36-person grand tournament, San Mateo, California, up near San Francisco. And this is round 4. I'm making a battle report of the top table. We've got Eric's Calidor Border Patrol themed High Elves versus Myles dinosaur themed Chaos, Warriors of Chaos Grand Army. Here's Eric. Here's Myles. This is a tournament game, so I've got to be a fly on the wall here. But we're just about to finish up deployment, and I'll be back with the army list. Starting with Myles' Warriors of Chaos Grand Army. That big dinosaur on the left there is a gigantic spawn of Chaos, Nurgle. Those little dinos are Chaos Warhounds. Next up there are Marauder Horsemen, Mark of Chaos Undivided, and Flails. Another big dino is another gigantic spawn of Nurgle. Another unit of Marauder Horsemen with Flails, Mark of Chaos Undivided, and I believe that's a Sorcerer Lord there. Back there, Warriors of Chaos, Combat Res Brick, Chaos Undivided, Hand Weapon Shield, Taskmaster Scourge. This is a Chaos Dragon Lord. This is the YOLO build. Ogre Blade, Paymaster's Coin, no Brazen Collar, no Talisman of Protection or anything like that. No Regen Save. Yeah, so just that 5-up ward. More Warhounds there with the dinos behind it. This is 5 Chosen Chaos Knights, Mark of Undivided, and Lances. Here is Eric's High Elf list. Way back in the corner there, that is a unit of Silver Helms looking suspiciously like Dragon Princes, but those are actually Silver Helms. Lothran Skycutter, just basic version. Dragon Helms is what they're called. These are Sisters Vabalorn with the Sea Bow, the big bolt thrower bow. Regular Elven Archers. Noble BSB on a Griffon. Sisters Vabalorn, those are the vanilla ones with nothing special, although they do have a wizard in there. It looks like a Archmage. Star Dragon Prince with the defensive build with a triple save, super tanky and a lance. More Elven Archers, more Silver Helms back there. Both the Silver Helm units have Ring of Fury. Another regular Skycutter. Sisters Vabalorn unit here. That one has Ruby Ring of Ruin. And zoom back out, way over here, we have got a scouting unit of Illyrian Reavers. Turn 1 strategy phase. Oh, and I failed to mention, we're playing Mountain Pass, if that wasn't obvious. Standard Mountain Pass. Gaze of the Gods, the Chaos Lord rolled a 4, so it gets +1 up skill for the rest of the game. And that's an important breakpoint, because if it gets in a fight with the Star Dragon, it now hits on 3s instead of 4s. No charges on the first turn for Myles, so we're going straight to compulsory moves. The only one there is that gigantic spawn of Chaos moved forward just a bit and wheeled. That one intentionally is standing still so it doesn't get charged by the dragon. Remaining moves phase for Myles with the Chaos. So this dragon moved forward, and then it took an Arcade Urgency from the Sorcerer Lord that was sitting there in the Marauders and moved again. It's positioned itself strategically up here for next turn's charge. Chosen Knights move forward. A bunch of sort of tactical positioning back there with the Warriors of Chaos, the Hounds, those Marauders. And then these Marauders moved up beside the spawn right there. And the Warhounds moved up a little bit. And I think that's about it. Shooting phase. The only shooting for the Warriors of Chaos was the Sorcerer Lord casting a Pillar of Fire. And then the following strategy phase, it moved forward slightly. So that is where we are. Strategy phase for Eric's High Elves. He cast Oaken Shield on the Sisters, and he attempted to faded that Pillar of Fire and failed. Charge phase. The only charge, just behind your wrist there, is that Star Dragon charged in on the gigantic spawn of Nurgle. The black base is where the dragon's actually located because he's too epic to actually get into base-to-base contact. Remaining moves phase for Eric's High Elves. These Sisters tucked themselves behind the hill to make it impossible for the dragon to charge them. They backed the heck up, and they Arcane Urgency, I think the Archers forward a bit more, maybe sideways, can't remember. They move forward, Silver Helms. The Skycutter relocated from over on the hill. Those Sisters Vabalorn shuffled sideways a bit, that Skycutter repositioned, and the Griffon did a crazy wheel over there. And then finally we've got the Skirmishing, they're actually Skirmishing, they're not ranked up. Reavers in the back there. They just went right on the crest of the hill, and they're trying to be cagey with those Marauders. They think they can shoot that one in the back, and that'll shoot them out of charge range on their turn, because they're skirmishers and they can charge backwards. Shooting phase for the High Elves. The archers way over there in the corner with the Ruby Ring of Ruin shot the Ruby Ring and the bows and completely killed that unit of Marauder Horsemen. They're gone. And then I think actually the Ruby Ring killed the Horsemen. The bows chipped a couple of the War Beasts over there. And then these archers and I think 1 or 2 shots from the sisters over here chipped 2 wounds off that.
Say 2. Quiet expected. So down 3? Yes, sir. Please hit me back.
Combat between the Star Dragon and the gigantic spawn of Nurgle right there. Star Dragon dealt 4 wounds to the spawn. Spawn did not deal any wounds in return. The spawn is unbreakable, so it backed up 2 inches, and the Star Dragon followed up. Strategy phase for the Chaos. The Pillar moved slightly. Didn't hit anything yet. The Gaze of the Gods is another point of weapon skill, so that Chaos Lord on Dragon is now up to weapon skill 9. And he whipped up those Chaos Warriors with the Taskmaster Scourge for an additional 1 inch of movement. Charge moves for the Warriors of Chaos. This dragon elected to charge the archers, which are way back there, and the Chosen Knights charged these Silver Helms, who are posing with fancy hats. Then is a complicated one. Both the Silver Helms and the archers intentionally fled. The archers fled through there, causing a panic check on the Silver Helms here and the Skycutter. The Skycutter intentionally did not use the General's leadership because he wanted a Fabigo. So he took the Fabigo on the Skycutter. So it Fabigoed there. The Silver Helms passed, so they stood still. This unit is a very complicated rules interaction, but it took a charge at the archers, hit accidental contact into the Silver Helms. So that counts as a redirected charge there. The Chosen rolled super high. They rolled 19, but they still couldn't reach the Silver Helms. Chosen Knights hanging out right there. Compulsory moves. The only thing that happened is that this giant spawn of Nurgle moved up a little bit. Remaining moves phase for the Warriors of Chaos. These War Beasts, Chaos Warhounds, moved up here in a conga line. Those Warhounds moved up a bit. Slight reshuffling there with the Sorcerer Lord and the Marauders, and honestly, that's about it. Shooting phase for the Warriors of Chaos. The only shooting was that Sorcerer Lord shooting at the Griffon Noble BSB there with Fireball and Blue Fire of Tzeentch, doing 1 wound, so it's down to 4 wounds now. Combat with the Chaos Lord on Dragon and the Silver Helms. Silver Helms are all missing, as you may have noticed, because they're all dead. And then the Lord took an overrun, which hit the fleeing Elven Archers, which auto-killed them. And then it took a restraint or a reform check, and is now facing that way. Combat between the Star Dragon and the gigantic spawn of Nurgle. Star Dragon won, and the spawn is dead. Dragon didn't take any wounds, and it reformed to face that sorcerer. Strategy phase for Eric's High Elves. Pillar of Fire went through the BSB Noble and did no damage. Then he cast Oaken Shield on himself, and he cast Val's Unmaking on the Chaos Lord and unmade his Ogre Blade, so he no longer has an Ogre Blade. Charge phase. So the Star Dragon charged the Sorcerer, who fled. He tried to reach him, but failed because he ran into the Marauders. So that's going to be a charge into the Marauders. Over here, the Griffon BSB tried to charge the Chosen, who held, and it couldn't quite get the movement to get into the flank there. So that's a failed charge, and he ended right there. Remaining moves phase for the High Elves. So over here, the Sisters managed to get out of the charge arc of the Chaos Lord by getting Arcade Urgency'd by the Archmage. So they're safe for now. These Silver Helms with funny hats moved back just slightly. Skycutter very slightly repositioned itself. The Sisters are standing still. That Skycutter repositioned. Reaver's repositioned. Shooting phase for the High Elves. Sisters and spells and stuff. Yeah, you want to Dragon did 1 wound. It's down to 9 wounds remaining. A bunch of shooting went into the giant spawn. It also took 1 or 2 wounds.
And stomps. 7. Yeah, so
that's about all the damage that was done on this turn. Combat between the Star Dragon and the Marauder Horseman. The Marauder Horseman challenged with a champion. Star Dragon killed it pretty hard. The Marauder Horseman fled, so they're fleeing back there. And the Star Dragon restrained and reformed to face that direction. Strategy phase, so that orange pillar of fire there went through the archers, killed 3 of them. They passed a panic check. The high elf pillar of fire went through the Chaos Lord, didn't do any damage. Chaos Lord got a 2 on the Gaze of the Gods for extra initiative. Taskmaster Scourge failed. Sorcerer Lord back there passed and reformed. And the Marauder Horsemen went and failed theirs, and they can't flee off the edge, so they're fleeing for the actual edge, the short edge over there. Charges for the Warriors of Chaos. The only charge is the Chaos Chosen Knights into the Silver Helms with funny hats. They fled, but didn't quite go off the table, so they're distracting them for yet another turn over there. Compulsory moves. The Gigantic Spawn of Nurgle random moved right on into those archers there. Remaining moves phase for the Warriors of Chaos. So the dragon looped around and is now facing this way. The hounds reformed into actual combat order, which is uncommon. Those hounds are stuck over there. Warriors move forward just slightly. And the sorcerer, where did the sorcerer end up? Joined the unit of warriors, looks like, on its horse, right there. Shooting phase. The only thing that happened is that the sorcerer in that unit killed 3 reavers with a variety of spells. Combat between the Gigantic Spawn of Nurgle and the archers. It killed all the archers and overran forwards without taking any damage. Strategy phase. The Chaos Pillar wiped out the reavers. The Elf Pillar did not do any damage to the Gigantic Spawn. He failed to cast Val's Unmaking. He recast Oaken Shield. And the Silver Helms rallied. Remaining moves phase. Griffon BSB moved up here. The Silver Helms reformed into 2 wide marching column and passed a march block test and then squirmed through that gap there with a march move. Sisters are toast. Those sisters moved behind the tower with an arcane urgency from their Archmage. Skycutters didn't move a whole lot. And the dragon moved 20 inches straight forward to get back in the action. Shooting phase. All the damage that was done. We did 1 more wound on the Gigantic Spawn, so it's hanging in there. Just hoping he can finish him off with a pillar. And then that Skycutter over there, I think, finished off 2 dogs, and they panicked. So that last dog is fleeing. Strategy phase for the Warriors of Chaos. The Pillar of Fire way over there didn't hit anything. But this Pillar of Fire got 3 6s to wound, finished off the Gigantic Spawn of Chaos. Gaze of the Gods rolled a 5, so that's an extra attack for the rest of the game. Over here, both the dog and the Marauder Horseman failed to rally. Marauder Horseman off the board, dog ran that way. And Oaken Shield went off on the Warriors of Chaos unit, and Taskmaster Scourge went off for +1 movement. Charge moves. The Chaos Lord on Dragon declared a charge on the Skycutter, which fled. And so he attempted to redirect the charge into the sisters and failed his leadership check. So he was charging the Skycutter, and he decided to just not use his wings. So he charged the Skycutter across the ground and smacked into the sisters. Sort of same eventual effect. Remaining moves phase. Chaos Knights wheeled around a bit, or I think reformed. These Warhounds reformed again into marching column. They're a drill troop over there, the Warhound marching band. The Warriors of Chaos moved just a little bit. Shooting phase. The Sorcerer Lord shot blue fire and a fireball at the Skycutter. He faded dispelled the blue fire, and the fireball did 1 wound. Combat between the Chaos Dragon and the Sisters. The Sisters challenged the Chaos Dragon. It killed the champion really hard, and they fled. He caught them, but it was only a 6-inch flee, which kept them in the charge arc of the Star Dragon. So Sisters are dead. He reformed and is now pointing this way to have the most options for charging on his turn and to get the Star Dragon in his front arc. Strategy phase for the Elves. Not a whole lot going on here. The Pillar didn't quite make it to the Skycutter. So Charge phase. The BSB Griffon charged into the Chaos Chosen Knights, who countercharged back by 2 inches. There they go. And the Star Dragon charged into the Chaos Dragon. Dragon on Dragon. Remaining moves phase for the High Elves. Little bit of reshuffling with the Sky Cutters, and the Sisters moved up through the forest there so they could try to finish off the Warhounds. And the Silverhelms reformed. That might not actually be the angle they end up in, but they're there. Shooting phase, the only target that was really available for anything was the Warhounds, and they got dead between the Ruby Ring and the bows. The Griffon Noble with the BSB against the Chosen Knights. The champion declined to challenge. The Griffon and the Noble killed the other 4 Chosen. They rolled really well. So there was just a champion left. He stubborned, so he Fabigoed, and the Griffon BSB followed up, or pursued rather. Dragon on Dragon. The High Elf Prince was able to do 2 wounds, and the Chaos Lord with no Ogre Blade did no wounds in return. So it's a win by 2. Leadership test is an 11. So he is fleeing, and the dragon is pursuing. We'll see what happens. And the flee roll for the Chaos Lord and the Chaos Dragon was an 11. So he is off the board. Final couple moves here. In the last turn, the BSB was able to finish off that last champion, just barely. And Arcane Urgency miscast, which meant that the Sorcerer Lord was not able to get in range to shoot the Sky Cutter. So that will be the final result. All right, so the final swing there with the Chaos Chosen and the Dragon made a big difference. So this ended up being a pretty big victory for Eric and his High Elves. Final score here was 484 to 1,528.